Okay guys, so let's go ahead and go over some examples. Before we go into the examples, we first have to read the directions. So the directions: identify whether you are given the diameter or the radius. Then find the circumference in terms of pi. The key part here is find the circumference in terms of pi. So there are two types: finding it in terms of pi, and then the second one, what they ask you is to round your answer to the nearest tenth. So make sure you're reading the question correctly, whether you have to round it to the nearest tenth or whether you have to submit your answer in terms of pi. So let's go over the first type of questions. Well, question number 1. The radius of a circle is 4. Find the circumference. So if I go ahead and draw a circle, what it's saying is that from the center to a point on the circle, that's my r, and that's going to be equal to 4. If you remember, the circumference of a circle is equal to 2 pi times r. So this means that because my r is equal to 4, then what you have is 2 pi times 4. Now, because they want the answer in terms of pi, you leave pi as if it was a variable. In other words, you don't go ahead and turn it into 3.14. You just leave it in that form. So you have to multiply 2 times 4. You're just moving them around. Remember, moving the numbers around doesn't change anything. 2 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 2. So we have 8 pi as our answer. So what you would have to input into the computer would be 8 pi. All right, so now let's go over our next question. So we have a circle, and in this case, being asked to identify what we are given. So if this is the center, then because we are asked about the diameter, not asked, we're given the diameter. Remember, the diameter is not the radius. The diameter is 2 times the radius, because the diameter in a way connects one end of a circle, one endpoint to another endpoint on the circle. So it's connecting basically these 2 points, right, on the circle, and it passes through the center. Now, because from here to all the way the other end is 19, then what should be my r? So d is equal to 19. What is r? So let's make that in white. What is r? Well, if d is 2 times the radius, then r should be half of the diameter, right? So r has to be 19 divided by 2. So 19 divided by 2 is 9.5, right? And that makes sense, right? Because if this is 9.5 and this is 9.5, then when you add them together, you get 19. And that is correct. So again, because we are given the diameter, you have to divide it by 2 because that's not the radius. Our formula uses c is equal to 2 pi times r. We are not given r automatically. We are given d, but d helps us find our r. So now that we know what r is, now we can use our formula. So 2 pi times 9.5. Now look that we are not using the 19. The 19 does not go where r is because that's not my radius. Remember that, please. That is going to come up on your questions. So now we have 2 times 9.5 times my pi. So 2 times 9.5 is just really 19 pi. And this is my answer. So let me show you how you would go ahead and put this into your delta math if you were working on delta math. So the diameter of a circle is 19 inches. Find its circumference in terms of pi. That's the same question that I just did, just with a little bit different wording. So our answer that we got is 19 pi. So then you would go ahead 1, 9, and then you see the symbol here. You have to click it. So it's 19 pi, and then you go to submit answer. It's going to ask you if this is correct if this is what you're trying to input. And yes, it gives us our answer. Now it goes ahead and shows us how you could have done it. So the diameter again is 19, but we're interested in half of that because we want the radius. So that's 9.5, and we get our answer, which is 19 pi. All right, so let's go over one more example just to make this clear in case it's not clear yet. So number 3, the diameter of a circle is 7. Find the circumference. So I'm gonna draw a circle here, and we have our center there. Am I given the diameter or am I given the radius? I'm given the diameter, right? So I'm not given this. I'm not given r, which is from the center to a point on the circle. I'm given twice that. I'm given the diameter. Remember, the diameter, in a way, it's twice the radius. So from here all the way to the end, it's 7. So what should be half of that? So d is equal to 7. Well, that means that my r is equal to 7 divided by 2. That means that my r is equal to 3.5, right? Because if this is 3.5 and this is 3.5, adding them together, it gives me 7. We go to our formula, 2 pi r. C is equal to 2 pi times, let's use this for our multiplication, times 3.5. Well, you just go ahead and move them around. 3.5 times pi. C is equal to 7 pi. All right. Okay, now let's go over the second type of questions. The second type of questions is asking you to round to the nearest tenth. So let's go over a quick example for that. So the diameter of a circle is 13 centimeters. Find the circumference. Oh, that's a really bad circle. Let me try that again. That's a little bit better. So if this is the center of the circle, I'm given the radius or the diameter. I'm given the diameter. So the diameter is 2 times the radius. So that means that what I'm really working with is this. And this length is 13. So that's going to be 13. That means that my r is going to be half of that. Remember, because d, or the diameter, is 13, r has to be equal to half of that because the diameter is 2 times the radius. So r is 13 divided by 2. R is equal to 7.5. 6.5, sorry. So 6.5. That's not the answer. What we're looking for is the circumference. And circumference is equal to 2 times pi times my r. So now we have C is equal to 2 pi times my r, which in this case is, oh, put the wrong number, 6.5. Now, because I'm being asked to round my answer, I'm not going to go ahead and multiply 2 times 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and multiply all three numbers. Remember, it's 2 times pi, which in my calculator is second, and then the arrow pointing up, 2 times pi times 6.5. And now that's going to give me my number that I have to round. So it's going to be 40.08, I believe. Oh, 84. So 40.84. So I'm rounding to the 10th place. This is my 10th place, so I'm interested in the 4. The 4 is less than 5. Therefore, C is approximately 40.8. Now I have this question here on my delta math. So let's go ahead and try this out. 4.8 is not the correct answer. It's 40.8. So we go ahead and put 40.8. So that's going to give us, let's check, is that correct? Yes, it is correct. So hopefully this is making sense. Again, when it asks you to round to the nearest tenth, what it's saying basically is to go ahead and put it in the calculator and then round to the first decimal place. Before I let you guys go, I want to emphasize that it is important that you understand whether you're given the diameter or the radius. When you are given the radius, you can go ahead and use that automatically to use it on your equation or your formula. But when you are not given the radius and you're given the diameter, then you must find the radius first before you can use your formula. And that's it for today, guys. If you have questions, make sure you let me know. Send them through Remind or through your Google Classroom or also through email. Bye-bye, guys.